Welcome to Tea Time with Dr. K, where we share stories that inspire transformation, celebrate victories, and dive deep into the journey of health and wellness. Grab your tea and let's build a better you, one conversation at a time. Hi, everyone. This is Dr. Cross, and thank you for joining us for another episode of Tea Time with Dr. K. We have a very special guest here today, Danny. Thank you for joining us, Danny.
For having me.
Of course. And we're going to go ahead and hear all about how we met and how he also became a patient in my practice and how his experience been so far. So, Danny, you want to let us know how we met?
Yeah, first of all, thank you. Yeah, throw home. First of all, thank you for having me.
Of course.
We met through Mike Barron.
Yeah.
When I first met you guys, it just kind of caught me off guard because you guys had such a great energy to you guys, and it's very rare to see people that are just always vibrant like that. It was almost a little bit alarming because when I first saw you guys and the way you guys were so welcoming to me and Eric, I was just kind of thrown off by it.
You're like, who are these people?
Exactly. And then as I started to get to know you guys a little bit more, I was like, oh, they're just great people. Yeah, they're just really great people. There's no reason to have low energy. And so I try to take a lot from that experience and try to, put it into my own experiences when meeting new people.
Very smart. You're very smart.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
And guys, like Mike Barron mentioned on my podcast, I don't know if you watched it, but he was saying, this is Hennessy. And I said, oh, yeah. And I didn't know what Hennessy was. So,
This is Hennessy.
This is Dr. Cruz on her high energy all the time.
Yeah.
He has having water and I'm having coffee.
This is water? I thought this was tequila. Are you sure? I feel something. Tastes a little funny.
Water on his cup. Oh my gosh, give me 5. So
drink responsibly, guys.
Yes, and thank you again to Mike Barron. We truly, truly miss him, and I appreciate him so much. And for always and ever, I'll be grateful to have met him at Ty Lopez event, and also for him to have introduced me to Eric and Danny, which are two very wonderful men, and they've already become a patient in my practice. And so let's talk about how was your experience here?
Yeah. So, walked in. I was expecting. I remember we talked about it a little bit over dinner.
Yeah.
And I was just expecting, an average dental, place. You get the little kids room, that kind of thing. And then when I walked in, that was the complete opposite. As you can see, there's a podcast room in this dental practice. I don't think most dentists can say that they have a podcast room of their own. But yeah, I could just tell that you really put a lot of time, effort. You're very passionate about what you do, and you're very passionate about your space. And so this is a perfect reflection of who you are and how serious you take the things.
Oh, I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course.
And we're going to get to him talking about how passionate about what he does and how smart he is. But before we go there, let's talk about, you had some dental work done.
Yeah. So I came in, I came in and I was talking all this trash. I was like, oh, I've never had a cavity in my life. I've had clean teeth. And then I clearly that wasn't right. I found out very quickly. I felt very quickly. I to this day I don't know how many. I just know it was a lot.
We're just sitting on a chair taking the.
I just know I was not, and they were drilling my teeth. But yeah, ever since we walked in, it's been only welcoming, love. I feel very welcome here. Your staff is amazing.
Thank you.
Everybody's it's a great experience to come back here. Every time I come back, I'm excited.
Oh, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Cavities, whatever, but
it is
part of the.
How do you feel now? How's your bite? I know you had the rest of them done 2 days ago. How do you feel right now?
I feel good. The first and second day were my jaw was very sore. I couldn't even open my mouth to eat. But now, it's just getting normal.
Because we had to keep your mouth open for a few.
It was very bad. For an hour, I couldn't eat.
You're like, what's happening? Yeah. It lasered you on the jaw joints.
I think if you,
we would have been nice. The first time I did, right?
First time you did. But the thing is, with my jaw, it's weird. We can talk about it later, but it's weird. I have I don't know. There's a gap there.
Yes, I know. He had some sort of, I think, braces done, right?
I had braces done.
But it wasn't really 100% done, perfectly well. So he's still in crossbite. So, when he's done, he's like, is my jaw in the right place? And I'm like, Danny, that's how you were to begin with.
I don't know. I think they did.
Noticed it more.
I think they did.
Not very fish.
I think that was just a way to get me back through the door.
That's right. So anyhow, so you had a great experience and good time.
Yes.
The first time he was really good. You said you're gonna give me a shot. What did you say? You're gonna stab me
They would
again.
stab me, drill me, and just stab me again. So.
Stab me. The first time we're doing stuff on the top and he was good with the numbing. The second time, I think a little numbing, having to do the lower jaw, it's a little uncomfortable. So but he did well. Yeah, it was sweet.
Little uncomfortable is an understatement. If you come in for your lower jaw, you're gonna just expect pain. That's what I'll tell you.
You're gonna run away, Danny.
Well, don't run away.
Don't run away.
Yeah.
So now let's talk about, this is what I wanted to talk about. You're 21 years old. You reached out to Eric.
Yes.
And what was incredible is like his mindset, really, guys. The way he thinks. He found an opportunity. He's went and seeked it out.
Yeah.
And I want to know all about that. I want to know how did you start even thinking like that differently to see, hey, I could do this, and the potential if it responds, then this is what's going to happen. And tell me what has happened in the last, I believe, 1 year, right?
Yeah.
It hasn't even been a year.
A year and a half.
A year and a half.
Yes.
So technically you were not even...
That was like 19, 20.
19 and a half. Okay.
Yeah, and we can touch on the whole entire journey from 17 years old.
Yes.
First decided that I wasn't going to go to college, come from an immigrant household. And so, obviously that when you tell them you're not going to be
Immigrant household from where?
My parents are from Ecuador.
Ecuador.
Yeah,
okay. What you guys moved?
They moved here, I don't know, probably like 26 years now.
26. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
nice.
But I was born and raised in New York. But yeah, just telling them from the beginning, hey, I'm not going to go to college.
When did you tell them?
My junior year of high school.
Why did you tell them though?
Because I wanted to prep them for what was to come. I had a vision of doing something big, and I knew that through college it wasn't going to be the best way. I wasn't passionate of what was out there. I would look up, what was the highest paying job, and it was an anesthesiologist. And in my head, I was like, okay, I'm going to be an anesthesiologist. I hate needles, by the way, but I said, if it's going to pay the most, that's what I'm here to do. I'm here to kind of be able to support my parents. They obviously took a massive risk, leaving everything behind, came to this country, have sacrificed their whole entire life for us. And I think it's almost like selfish to go to college, get massive debt, and then, leave college with a $50,000 job or even $100,000 job where you can barely support yourself and you can't even support the people that took the risk for you,
Yeah.
So very early on, and you can see, like, I kind of take things to an extreme. Obviously, that's not the case for everybody, and that's my mindset, right? I don't want to be selfish to the point where I'm just working an $80,000 job, $80,000 a year job. So that was my mindset going into junior year. I told myself, all right, I'm not going to take the SAT because everybody was stressing. Junior year is the year where you have to do all these essays and stuff. I said, nope, I'm not doing that. I just completely decided then and there I wasn't going to take it. COVID, that was 2020.
Oh my
gosh. So
okay.
It's perfect timing. It gave me some time to start looking at different things. And that's when I stumbled into online business, how to make money online, like everybody.
Did you have a role model that you were looking up to say, oh my God, this guy is young and I want to be like him? Or
not necessarily.
Okay.
In the beginning, it was just me trying to figure it out. And I slowly started to obviously just watch a bunch of YouTube, watch people that were doing it and how they were doing it. And then I started to imagine myself in their shoes, right?
Wow. Manifesting it.
Yeah.
Amazing, Kevin.
One of the biggest things was like, the big difference between a lot of people that are in trying to do something, they're not successful yet, is they don't have that conviction. And the conviction is the number one thing. Right now, I have the conviction that any business that I go into, I can succeed. I know it's going to take a year, maybe 6 months to a year, maybe 2 years, but I have the conviction because I know that what I'm doing works now. You know what I mean? And
give us the recipe.
That's the number one thing. I mean, the recipe is conviction. Like it took me a year and a half of just doubt. Well, from 17 years old till 19, almost 20 years old.
Wow, what a big years.
3 years. Yeah.
We must
trying to figure out what is it that they want to do in their life. And it's like from 17 to 19 years old.
Yeah.
I was trying to figure it out. I was trying to figure it out. It's very teenage year.
Well, that's almost 3 years. Yeah, 17 to 20. And
Yeah.
for a lot of people, they obviously don't go through that till they're past college. They're in mid-20s, almost early 30s. And for me, it was always just, how can I gain that conviction as much as possible? And
how did you know that you can actually do it, right? Is that what you're saying, right?
Exactly.
Believing that you can actually do that and start manifesting it.
More than manifesting it is just having the confidence to follow something blindly.
This is incredible. I hope that a lot of young listeners are listening to this, because not only it's going to affect the rest of us, but also for people who are young, who are hearing this. He's like 21 years old, you guys. Like, this is, he's sitting here, talks as if he has 20 years of outside, work experience and like working with professionals. I don't know how you learned to be here, but I'm honored to be in your presence.
I appreciate it.
Seriously, truly mean
likewise.
that. Yeah.
Likewise. No, I admire a lot of things. I know we had a quick conversation when I was here last time, but we can definitely dive into, I like the way you run your business as well.
Oh, I appreciate that.
And yeah, of course, like there's not that many people that can do it at your level, and everything is still kind of, you've obviously hired a lot of people, amazing talent, people that are really good at what they do. And they all kind of support you so that you can provide the best service to your clients. So
appreciate that.
It's the same exact thing. We can dive into it later.
Yeah, but I wanted to talk about you.
Yeah.
Let's talk more about you, because I'm learning from you.
Yeah. So basically, to continue with that story, 17 to 20, I was in real estate. I wanted to get my real estate license because I wanted to invest in real estate.
So you're a realtor?
I'm not. No, that never went through.
I'm not doing that.
Yeah, I wasn't. It wasn't really interesting to me. I thought it was gonna help me learn the loan, like different types of loans and things. The goal was never to become a realtor. It was to become a.
To learn how. Okay.
Yeah, how to leverage.
You're smart, and you mentioned that too. So in my practice, I learned how to do everything that's in my office.
Exactly.
So that I know if somebody is assigned to a task, how long would it take for it to be done? So that I know I'll have.
Same thing with our business as well.
Yes.
Yeah. It's great. Like, that's the way people should do it.
Yeah.
If they hire out completely, they're not going to understand.
No.
How to do it correctly. They're not going to understand the pain points that come with that part of the
exactly
business. I've gone and done every single part of my business now, like down to the little things, like even editing, scripting, video, sales, appointment setting, and copywriting, everything. So now when I hire people and now they come to me with a problem, I'm like, oh, this is how I solve it.
Wow. At 21, guys, 21. This is unbelievable. So we're gonna go dive in a little bit into that. But tell me now, how did you thought about talking with Eric?
Yeah. So I'll wrap up the whole backstory really quickly.
Sure.
Went into real estate, and then my first job out of high school was I was a project manager. First ever, built.
Project manager for
residential remodeling.
Oh, residential remodeling. Okay.
Yeah, it was my best friend at the time. His dad had a company.
Mm-hmm.
My first ever project was a $1.1 million build.
Oh,
at
opportunity
at 18.
Meet.
Yeah.
The master, a smart man. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. I mean, if you have those opportunities, you better take them.
You better take them,
because you never know. It's funny because now I look back at my whole kind of background. It's only been 3-4 years, and
his whole life.
My whole life. The years of experiences, and I'm like, wow, everything led up to now,
where you're at today.
And it's helped a ton. But anyways, had that experience. I've always been in real estate, always been in construction. My parents are in real estate and construction. And then eventually dove into the online space, started making, wholesaling, that kind of thing.
Oh.
And then I started a short form agency. Short form agency.
Short form what is
content. That? So I would ideate, script, film, edit, and post for a client for $600 a month. I would do 30 videos a month.
Oh my!
It was an absolute steal. And I had a couple clients, but then I realized like how
are we gonna scale this?
I couldn't scale it, and I was losing money every single time going to a client. So after that, that one of my first clients, they blew up. They got a lot of attention. Another client as well blew up, got a lot of attention. They started to ask about coaching, mentorship, that kind of thing. That's when
You realize,
I dove down that
there's
rabbit hole.
something different
There's
here.
something there. So I had the chance to kind of build out like the first kind of course for somebody.
Yeah.
It went horribly. Like to this day, it was
Guys, I
bad.
love his rawness. Like, he's honest. He's to the point.
Well, yeah, I want people to see like it.
Yeah, you go through failures in life.
Yeah.
I mean, to get to where I am today, I went through a lot of pain and struggles. Oh my God, cries. You know, I met your friend Tony, right? Was it Tony his name?
Jay?
No, not Jay, but the other guy.
Troy.
Troy. He goes, I want to know what was your darkest moment.
Mm.
And I'm like, are you really asking me this question? But it was like, you know, and he's what? He's also 21, right?
22.
He's 22. And he went through something himself. And it's so interesting. People who go through pain and struggles, like they understand for you to build something like this, it's not easy. For him to build, and what he's about to tell you guys, it's not easy. So you go through some failures, you got to get up and shake it off,
Yeah.
and then move forward again. And you might fall again, and you got to get up and shake it up and move forward again, you know?
Yeah.
Nobody sees your pain or struggles or cries. They just see the happiness.
Exactly. And as long as we can, it's funny because even at me explaining it, I've watched multiple podcasts and multiple people talk about the same thing that we're talking about.
Yeah.
And until you actually experience it and you're in it,
Yeah.
you don't actually understand what they're talking about.
No.
And so I finally had the chance to experience it. And during that time, it was very dark, lost,
Yeah.
as well, pain. But yeah, we had those results.
So what happened with that project? It failed. What do you mean it failed? Tell me.
Well, it was my first shot at ever doing anything in that space. And so
Mentorship
everything.
or coaching, right?
mentorship coaching, more of just like building a system and building an education company,
Yeah.
an info product
Yeah.
company. So I didn't
What do you see it as failure? So when you say it failed, what does that mean?
didn't sell.
Okay.
That's what that's what I mean.
I bet you made a good product.
It was a good product. To this day, I think that client still uses that same course.
Okay.
Uh,
You just got it for free.
he just got it for free, basically.
Yeah.
But anyways, down the line, that kind of dove me into the space. That's when I met, or that's when I started working with
How long
Troy.
after?
Probably like a month or two.
And you met Troy.
No, I met Troy before we started. About
And it was Troy. So maybe let's tell our
Troy is one of my best friends. I have 3 best friends. Jay, he's 20 years old. Just bought a McLaren 720S.
Yeah.
Me, I'm 21. Just bought a
Shout out to Jay and Troy because they're going to become my patient too. And
Exactly.
they're
They're
going to
gonna
be
get
on
on
the
the podcast.
podcast.
Exactly.
Sure. Yeah.
I just bought one of my dream cars, and then Troy is
Oh,
my other best 911 Turbo S.
Yeah.
And then Troy is my other best friend. He just bought a M4 comp. So we all bought them in the last like month or two. And that's another important thing, just having those people around, like in your circle. You see how deep Troy can go into conversations
Oh,
and
and
ask
he's
those
a
questions.
smart guy too. Wow. When was it? How many Saturdays ago? Like 3
It
Saturdays
was like
ago?
two.
2 Saturdays ago. Yeah, I know. I'm sure you guys saw that. I went to a construction mentorship site by Eric, and his, fiance Melissa. No, it was Chelsea.
Chelsea.
Well, how did I call
Yeah.
her? Chelsea. And then I met Troy. You introduced me to Troy. His best friends, and Troy and Jay. But Troy, he's such a deep guy.
Very deep.
Like, he was asking me questions on, like, how old are you? Like, what you do,
Exactly.
20 years? Let's add 20 years to you, because he was asking very, very smart questions. And I'm like,
And that's why he's one of my best
these
friends.
boys can be my kids, by the way. They're way like I'm,
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's why
but-
he's my best friend, because we've had, like, when I tell you we were going through the fire together, it was me, Jay, and Troy, and we would have 2 a.m. conversations with a whiteboard in front of us. Each one would take turns going up to that whiteboard, breaking down what we're working on, breaking down what's wrong with our businesses right now, how we can fix it, how we can improve, what do we need to do to
Wow.
continue to scale in the next year, 2 years. And that's at 2 a.m.,
My
4
jaw
a.m.
dropping.
Like, that's what.
How long you guys did that for?
Months, multiple, like probably a year almost.
So you guys would go up in the board and talk about your own specific business.
Yeah.
And the other 2 friends, Troy and Dre,
They own their businesses as well.
they would give you
They would
feedback.
give me feedback, and then the next
then vice
person would
versa.
go. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so sometimes for me, it was like I was lost, and I would just tell them like, "Hey guys, I have no idea what I'm doing right now," and it kind of took turns between all of us, and yeah, just having those conversations, having just that constant pressure of, your friends are doing it, your best friends are doing it, you have to just continue to do it as well, and it makes it easier, honestly. If you can go through that journey, I recommend going through it with at least one other friend, somebody who's equally, as passionate of business and of, being successful as you, because it just makes it easy. We look back at those times and we're like, that was kind of fun.
That was kind of fun.
You know?
Yeah, because you learned from each other. And
Exactly.
your bonds were stronger too.
It's very strong. And now I don't really have that many other friends. And I don't really,
Because when you level up,
yeah.
those are the only people you want to really hang out with,
Exactly.
because you just don't want to.
And they're relatable.
Yes.
Because we're all kind of making the same amount of money right now.
Yeah.
And so if I tell them, I only made X amount of money
Like
this
a
month.
six-figure, by the way. And I have to say that, sorry. I don't know if the audience watches that, but he does well for himself, because Eric told me how much you make. Eric is his partner.
I do well. I'm very blessed to be in the position.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're the only people that I'm like, if I tell them, hey, I'm doing X amount, which for anybody else monthly would be a crazy number.
Yeah.
But then they're like, okay, it's
You
not
can do
good.
more.
You could do more.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
So tell me how you came across Eric.
Eric. So
Yeah.
So it was just purely through Instagram. Troy was actually one of the first people that found Eric and was like, yo, I think this guy's awesome. And so he sent it over to me. I looked at his stuff. That was when Eric just wasn't even on, like, he was just starting to post on social media.
When did he start?
This was like a year and a couple months ago.
Eric has only been on social media for a year and a couple months
Well,
ago?
he took it seriously. He was posting, but he wasn't like, he didn't really like take it super seriously. He was just posting, his projects, that kind of thing.
Uh-huh.
And
when did he start taking it seriously? Like a year and a few months ago?
I would say almost a year and a half ago. Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
How many followings did he have then?
I don't remember. It was less than 100K. There was still a lot of people that followed him, but it wasn't like,
Way to go, Eric. It's like,
Yeah.
what, in 1 year?
1 year. I mean, he's consistent. We'll touch into that, like,
Yeah.
how that's helped me as well. But yeah, I found him then, and Eric is one of the most humble people and one of the most like
He is very
down to earth people, and
Yes.
so I just cold DM'd him and I said, hey, I see what you do. I would love to be a part of the team. I would love to like work with you. And that same day, he was just like, hey, let's go get dinner. And I was like, okay.
That's
And so we
awesome.
went to go get dinner, and Eric has been already building for 5 years at this point, or 6 years now.
Yeah.
And so he was like, there's a lot of people that want help,
Yes.
like with
For construction,
Yeah, with
business, and both.
consulting. They want
Yeah.
to learn what I do, and I
Well-
don't know how to do it. He was in prison for 7 years, and so technology isn't really a strong suit. And so I was like, look, I've been in real estate. I know how to film. I know how to do all of this.
Yeah.
And I know exactly what the potential is, and I know how we can build this into something big. And yeah, I mean, ever since then, it's just the rest is history. We've been together ever since, just growing this thing into
So
something massive.
when you guys met, how did you decide how I'm going to structure this business? Like, because it's about a structure and system, and there's some level of organization. And how did you know what to do? Like, that's what I want to know. Like at 21, with, like, I know you say you're in real estate, but you really you didn't have that much of experience. So tell me, how did you come up with that? Because it's not easy to know how to structure the classes, what you're going to teach, and then how you're going to market it.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously with Eric, he has a lot of following.
Yeah, there was a lot of traffic there.
Yeah, a lot of traffic. But then, he was already building credibility all by himself because he was showing the project and stuff. But just walk me through that a little bit.
Yeah, of course. So I always approach everything with the mentality of I don't know. I'm not good at I'm not that I'm not good.
I don't know. I don't know everything.
I don't know everything.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And if you can approach everything in life like that at any level, it doesn't matter how much money you're making or how successful your business is. If you just always approach it as I don't know everything, somebody knows more than me, I'm going to look for that.
So basically being coachable.
Being coachable.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the number one thing. So in the beginning, like I said, I didn't really know everything. I had a little bit of sales experience. I had a little bit of everything. And I was the one that ran, like, it was just me and Eric.
Yeah.
I was back end. He was, the face of the company.
Right.
And so they were
Visionary.
exactly. If somebody were to hop on a call, book a call, I was the one DMing, or Eric would be the one DMing, and then I was the one on the call, and I was the one that like got them set up with our softwares and our communication, and then I was the one that like would then help Eric film. So it was just me and him. I gained a lot of experience from that, and then I quickly just understood, okay, if I want to make this something big, I need to hire mentors.
Mm-hmm.
Like I just need to spend money. I need to spend enough money to the point where I'm in the best place to succeed. I forgot, there was somebody that told me the exact way, like the exact mindset that I was in. It was just basically, I want to spend so much money to the point where it makes it impossible for me to be successful.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
So that was my mentality.
Interesting.
Hire multiple mentors.
I'm gonna point out the first 6 years of my career as a dentist. I'm gonna say it now because you mentioned that. Guys, I've traveled anywhere between 1 time to 3 times a month for mentorship and continuing education courses. I invested over $500,000.
Beautiful.
For like travel, expenses, learning about, cosmetic, implant, sleep apnea, TMJ, myobrace, expansion, myofunctional therapy, you name it. Because I felt like the more I learned, the more I realized I don't know anything.
Exactly.
And that's
the best position to be in.
Exactly.
I've had so many people that I've hopped on calls with where they just start to tell me something about the business and I have no idea what they're talking about. And you feel like so ignorant, but at the same time you're excited.
You have a thirst for the knowledge.
Exactly,
you want to go learn it.
Because now you're like, oh my goodness, there's way more to this than I ever.
Yes.
I'm just separating myself from my competition even more.
Yeah.
So that was the objective in the beginning. It still is the objective to this day. Just, I don't know everything. I'm going to hire as many people in my circle to help me know what they know, and all their experience that they have, I want to have as well.
So how many mentors did you hire? Like what in what areas? Tell me that. I want to I want to know structure. Like I want to know what's going on.
I've had sales mentors. I've had
so how to close, basically.
How to close, the psychology behind actually
closing a deal,
but also like what it takes for somebody to say yes and be influenced by you.
Yeah.
I've had people that have just helped me with literally the softwares itself, like how to understand the software, how to build a funnel that works, how to have something that build a company that, number one, can scale to a massive level, but also provide exceptional results.
Yes.
And that's my focus now, is just over delivering on all our clients that come in.
That's awesome.
So I've spent, at this point, probably not $500,000, but
you've only been visiting us for 1.5 years, so I hope you're not spending $500,000.
I probably spent like close to 6 figures.
Yeah.
On just.
And that's what it takes sometimes.
That's what it takes.
Yeah.
I remember one of the biggest things. It was a $50,000 like consulting thing, and I had like probably like 55,000, and I just said, you know what, do it. Let's do it.
Take risks like me.
I take a ton of risks.
It's funny he said that. Like, it's so true. Like sometimes you have the lowest amount of money, but you just know that if you do this, it's gonna work, and you have to be willing to take those risks in life and to go to the next level.
Exactly.
And yeah,
and it's funny because, yes, we take risks, but also my mindset is that risk doesn't exist. Risk is just something created. It's just a fallacy
in your head.
Yeah.
Yep.
And the reason I say that is because I used to have a job. I was a server at one point.
Like when you were 16?
Yeah, back in the day.
Back in the day.
Back in the
When you're like 15 years old or 16 years old. Okay.
Yeah, I used to be a server, and so one of the things that stood out to me the most was when I left, I just quit one day. I just quit.
Yeah.
And I needed to show up the next day.
Yeah.
And in my head, this is the craziest thing ever. Like, I quit. Like, I will never find a job. Everybody thinks like that, right? I'll never find a job. And then I would say like 5 months later, I had the chance to go back. Or now when I was working on the business and everything, I had the chance to go back and visit everybody that was, really good friends with me at that job. And as a joke, I made to the manager, I was like, hey, I'm coming back to work. Yeah. She was like, oh, perfect. She was serious though. She was like, I can schedule tomorrow if you want.
Oh my gosh.
And so, it was a joke, but what stood out to me the most was like, I left when they needed me. I quit my job thinking I could never turn back. 5 months later, I go back as a joke. I told them I wanted to go, work again.
Yeah.
They're like, okay, we'll hire you back.
Yeah.
So where's the risk?
There's no risk.
There's no risk.
No.
Like I can literally just go back to the same job. I can find a different job exactly doing the same exact thing.
So why not just focus on yourself?
Yeah.
And doing what you do best.
Exactly.
And scaling your own mindset, your own business, your own skill level to different level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the
You can always go back to the lower levels.
at the end of the day, you can just go back to that job.
Yeah.
If you fail, all right, it's part of the process.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest things that I learned as well is like I've had the chance to be around multiple entrepreneurs, very successful entrepreneurs, and every single one of them has told me they failed before. They've gone to zero and back up, and to zero again and back up. And that feeling is crazy because I didn't understand it until like to be an established entrepreneur. Like failure is just a part of it. Like hanging around those people made it acceptable to fail.
Yeah.
Because now, if I failed before, I was like, okay, my parents see me as a failure, my friends see me as a failure, whatever. But around those people, they're like, good, you're supposed to fail. Like that's part of the like, just keep going. Like you're failing, all right, just continue.
Yeah.
And so that was a big thing that helped me as well. Just push me forward, with business.
I can totally relate to that, several times, but what's important last year was one of the hardest years of my life. And, you go to the point of like, losing it all. And all of a sudden you just, with your conviction and your mindset, knowing that no matter what happens, I could rebuild again, and you just move forward, and all of a sudden things change around,
Exactly.
And so that's really, really the key.
Because that if right now I took everything from you, every single building, every single camera, every staff member, everything, and they just went to like you started from zero again, how quick could you get back to where you're at right now?
I'm emotional.
Good. That means you care about it.
Yeah. And the truth is that if they took it all away, I just know how to build it right exactly the same way, and even better.
Even better.
Yeah.
Even better.
Even better.
Because you went through all of it already.
Yeah. When you go through a hard time, you can get through anything.
Exactly.
Yeah. You made me emotional on the video. Oh my God. Nobody.
That's good.
Yeah.
You care about it.
Yeah.
You care. There's
I love what I do.
Yeah. There's a passion about it.
Yeah.
You're supposed to cry.
Yeah.
You cry in the hard times, you cry in the good times.
So, man, we need to cut this part.
You want to take a break?
No, I'm good. So anyhow, got distracted.
Let's go back to what we were talking about before. But yeah, working with Eric, we started, and ever since then, it's just been, I have the real estate experience, and what I don't know, like I try to learn as much as possible. And so one of the biggest kind of mindset shifts when I was helping Eric set this all up and co-founding this with him was, we went to a project, and he's a developer, millions and millions of dollars, and I've never done anything to that scale, but I've always been around like remodels and that kind of thing. And so when I saw a property being built, and he was telling me, all you have to do is just hire the professionals.
Yeah.
He's like, you focus on being a generalist and not a specialist. You can be a specialist, but now you're only focused on one exact part.
Yeah.
He's like, my job is to become a generalist. I hire all the professionals, and I just oversee the professionals. He's like, if I could, I would probably not want to know anything about the construction process and just hire all the professionals.
Wow.
And that's what it takes to be a successful person. And so I took that same kind of mindset into my business, and I was like, you know what? Why would I continue to overwork myself and I'm not the best at everything, every aspect. I said, I'll just become a generalist and hire the professionals, hire the people that have done this for multiple years. And so now we have a team of about, I would say 10 now, 10 employees, and
what do
all
do?
Professionals. They're all savages.
Tell me what to do.
They're sales reps, they're appointment setters, they're client success managers, coaches, just people in the back end that help me with like just very technical stuff, things like that. Even the consultants I would consider as a part of the team.
Mm-hmm.
And hiring those people allows me to now remain consistent even when I'm not necessarily the best at one a specific part of the business. But yeah.
So who taught you to kind of like, is it just Eric that taught you how to, not be the specialist, but be the generalist, and then be
that was the biggest thing that Eric has, like, if I were to say one thing that's impacted me, there's two things that have impacted me a ton from Eric, coming from Eric, was consistency.
Mm-hmm. Oh, he's very consistent.
You
guys follow him on social media. He's very consistent. Yeah.
And that's the difference. Like, that's the biggest difference. But then also is that to become a generalist and not a specialist.
Interesting. That speaks volume to me now,
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, you've done it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I want to do more of it, so that, I bring more doctors in and that I had, and we'll discuss that later.
Yeah.
But, yeah. So, wow. I learned something from him, like a lot, not just one thing, but just multiple things.
Yeah.
Me and him need to talk. after this.
No, for sure. I mean, like, and so after all that, right, I understood the construction process of how to develop a property. I was like, wait, this isn't really that different from like what I already like remodels and
Yeah.
flipping and that
Yeah.
kind of thing. So I was like, why aren't people doing this if they can make 6 and 7 figures like through development? Like, it's deal.
Yeah.
And he was just like, honestly, it's just capital and knowledge.
Yeah.
Like, it's the same exact process.
Yes.
But you're telling me I can make 10 times more.
Yeah. So
Why aren't people doing this? And that's when I kind of fully got sold into the same process. Like, I'm developing now too.
Yes, I know.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't want to go any other way. Before, my dream was to have multiple rentals and, you know, apartment complexes. No, I don't want that. There's $1 billion development companies. I want to. Yeah.
Once again. You need to cut this part out because my legs were going off. Okay. See that part again one more time. See that part again.
Yeah.
Because I noticed I'm like, this thing is going off. Shit.
But yeah, there's $1 billion development companies
Uh-huh.
that are coming out. I wanted to have rentals and Section A and that kind of stuff. And when I realized, developers,
Eric is doing it differently.
Eric is doing it differently.
And I want to do it like him.
Yeah.
He's very good at what he does. Like if he buys a land for like, I don't know,
Yeah, I mean,
a million or something, or 600,000, and he puts about 2 million to it, and he sells it for like 8 million, or 6 million, or 5 million, or 4 million.
roughly. I can break down the specific. So like, one of the most common deals would be something where he buys land for, I would say, 400,000 to $500,000.
Yeah.
Just for the dirt,
Yeah.
and then he'll build. Probably spend, let's see, like $1 million on it. So it'd be all in for like 1.5,
Yeah.
and sell it for 2 million, and make $500,000
In 6 months or what?
in
9 months?
I would say for a $2 million property, probably turnaround time, longest, probably like a year,
A year.
12 months
Okay.
to make $500,000.
Yeah.
And
And
he'll
he
do
did
like
multiple
20
projects
of those a
at
year.
the same time.
Yeah, he'll do 20 of those a year. So, you can do the math on that.
Yeah.
Makes
I know
some money.
his goal is to be at the
Yeah.
100 million, whatever in net worth
Yeah, and it's gonna
on
happen.
real estate. Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
I
But
have
he's
no doubt.
very like calm. He's very mellow, very down to earth, as you mentioned.
Yeah.
And he's very focused,
Very focused.
consistent. So now let's and you started this with him about a
He
year.
started about a year and a couple months ago. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So tell me about that process. Like, how did you start? Like, the revenue was, and then how did you guys go up? How did you make things a little different? Tell me about that. I have never asked him off the camera, and now I'm putting him on the spot. This poor guy is, and I was like, am I really supposed to talk about all this?
So
Only share what you want to share.
yeah. I'll preface this by saying me and Eric have made we've agreed and we have certain promises that we hold to each other.
Yeah.
One of the things is we never publicly talk about numbers. But I will say, things scaled up pretty quickly. We went from the first month was a fantastic month,
Mm-hmm.
which is insane. We were literally a 2-man team doing everything. And what that allowed us to do was just understand, okay, this could be something, pretty big.
He's talking about like the mentorship, like
The mentorship coaching side, yes.
basically like you set up the phone calls and
I book calls, we talk to people, we make sure that everybody that's joining is, number one, qualified.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of people that can have the money, but they don't have the time, or, they're in a certain area that doesn't really work.
and you only work for people in Dallas area, right?
No, we work with people all over. The process is the same.
Okay.
Yeah, it's it's a beautiful process. But
Yeah.
um
So talk about the process a little bit later because I want to know.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And Eric will probably be able to help you.
Yeah.
Help that.
True that.
He'll be able to dive deeper into that. But
Because he might say something. Ask Danny. So I don't. What your part has to do with you? You say it.
yeah. But yeah, I mean, in terms of the coaching side, it started off as something small. I've always had big visions for it.
Yeah.
Even when I told Eric like the numbers that I knew we could hit,
Yeah.
which now we're hitting them.
Yeah.
Before that was like, it was
When
like,
he told-
no way.
Did he say? Did he?
I have text messages of like, I was like, it's funny because I literally spoken into existence, and this is like,
You really spoke
This
to
is God's
existence.
work.
Did you guys hear that?
It's
You
God's
put
work.
the number.
it's all God's work. Like God's timing. God has been over this completely. I'm very religious. I'm a Christian. I give everything to God. Since day one, I said, I would tell God, like, look, I'm just going to do what I have to do, and you take care of the rest. Like, I can't do anything else. If it doesn't work right now in this season, it's because you don't want it to work. And maybe you're building my character, maybe you're doing something in the background. I'll just wake up and do what I have to do every single day.
Who is this guy? Kevin, this is ridiculous. Like, wow.
Yeah.
What an incredible parent you have to have raised you to be such an amazing gentleman. God, yes, but
God bless me with those parents.
Yes, the parenthood, like that is really the foundation of who you are today. And then
thank you.
You learn to build on that yourself.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Incredible. Wow. Wow.
But yeah, I mean, like,
you don't come across, these type of individuals often, especially at this age, having to have gone through, like, I feel like you've gone through so many years of experience. It's been like 3 or 4 years. Like,
it feels a long time.
I feel like
it feels like a long time.
My life has gone wasted away with my 20 years. I should have met him when I was 20 years.
Feels
I
like
would have learned a few things from you. So go ahead.
It feels very long.
Yeah,
it does.
Because you've gone through a lot.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And I don't look at people. There's people younger than me that are way more successful than me, that know stuff that I don't know, and just because they've experienced more, it's very cool because the people that now I'm surrounded with. I was just texting one of my really good friends. He's in New York right now. He's 21 too. He just sold his company for $28 million.
28 million? What does he do?
He ran an agency,
like social media,
SMS email agency.
Oh wow!
I don't know if I should have been public about that. Well, we're not just gonna say. Yeah,
you know,
really good friend of mine. Yeah, really good friend of mine. He sold.
There's a lot of 21-year-olds in the world.
A lot of 21-year-olds. Yeah, for $28 million.
Bravo to that.
Yeah,
friend of his. Yeah.
Clear. After all,
when did he start it?
Like 4 years ago.
So wow.
Yeah, and sold for $28 million. Like he made.
What does he do now? He's probably reinvesting it.
I literally we were talking about it yesterday. He's just in crypto now. Like he's just having fun in crypto. He's made like $2 million in the last like 3-4 months, which is crazy.
Invested or lost?
No, he's made.
He's been in crypto.
He's up $2 million. Yeah.
Okay, now he's doing his thing on this.
Yeah, now he's having fun. You know what I mean? But yeah, like we had a conversation where he sold it. He's 21 years old. He sold the company for $28 million, and I was just like, you've made $1 million. Technically, you've made $1 million since the day you were born, because it's only been 21 years. He's made $28 million. So if you split it out between the span of 21 years, he's made more than $1 million every single year since he was one. So
this is incredible.
Yeah,
and he's 21.
He's 21. Well, now I think he's like 22.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No, once you get to 22,
Kevin.
Once you get to 22, that's a little
22.
You're up there. You're up there now. You gotta. You gotta be careful.
You're going down, but
so we tell Troy that all the time. He's 22. That was what my friend. He's 20 years old. He tells me all the time. He's like, you have to get the car at 21 because after 22, it looks like you cashed out your 401k to buy that car. Like you look old. Like you can't. You're just old at that point.
I think I'm on my deathbed now because apparently, according to them, it's 22.
Yeah. It's fun.
A different level, you guys. I know some of you guys will be watching, be like, what is going on here? But this is incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, Troy, I can't wait to have you in my practice soon, and so is Jay.
Yeah.
And hopefully your friend one day soon.
Yeah, my friend one day soon. He's
the one in New York.
He used to live in Dallas, and then now he's bought he lives in New York. He has a spot in multiple different states. I think he's getting a spot next week in Santa Monica.
Oh,
he's just
living
living the good life, He'll just fly private everywhere. So, anyways, but yeah, those are the type of people that I'm blessed to be around. And so when I see that, that's I just learned from them. I'm just like, wow, okay. I need to keep going. You know what I mean? I want to sell a company eventually. I want to have something at that scale. And so that's the goal now.
That's wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
And beside all the wonderful stuff that he has accomplished in such a short amount of his life, he also has become a pilot. This is one of my passions too. So you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, we can touch on that.
Oh, hey, listen, can you help me with my pilot license?
I probably need help. You probably know more than me at this point, right?
Instead for the test, I'm supposed to fly solo, and my instructor is like, Donia, you just need to take the written test. I can actually fly solo. So I really have to take the written test. Maybe you can help me just take it.
So when I took that test,
of course, I hope the FFA, doesn't hear it.
Hopefully we can cut this out. But
cut this one
out. Yeah, when I was in the same position with solo, I got all the groundwork done with the instruction. They were like, all right, you're ready to go solo. We just need that test. And I was like, fuck. Like I wasn't really worried about it. And so I had an online course. Funny enough, I learned everything. I learned how to fly a plane online, which is crazy. That tells you enough. You know, like
So you learn how to fly the plane online before you even start taking private lessons.
so you need to learn like all the groundwork stuff and all the technical and aerodynamics, that kind of thing. All that was done.
No, I was learning it when I was flying.
Well, yeah, that's
In the air.
that's where you learn the most.
Yeah, you're like, okay, now you do go like this, and then all of a sudden, and I was like, what the hell just
You
happened?
stalled the plane yet?
Oh yeah, several times.
Yeah.
So you go up there, and oh my god, the very first
That's the
time I
nice thing.
stalled it, I was like, I thought I was gonna die.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is that you're supposed to take it, recover, and you're like, oh my gosh, and you have to push it down before you can go back up, and that's the part where you feel like you're about to die.
Mm-hmm. No, trust me, I know exactly. I've gone through all that too many times where I've had like one scary experience where I was like, oh, this might be it.
What happened?
I was coming in for a landing. There was like pretty high trees right before the runway, and the runway was short. So I wanted to, get as quick as, come down as
Was
close
it
as
windy?
possible. It was a little bit,
So
actually.
now you have a crosswind going.
Crosswind plus trees plus short runway. My mindset coming into it was like, all right, there's not that much runway. I want to get down as quick as possible. I still was minding the trees, so like it was like past the trees, and then I try to like dive down. I did dive down. I hit that little bump. Yeah,
Hopefully that's gonna happen to you.
And so I did that, and when I was still doing that, I was trying to bleed off airspeed by like pulling back.
Yeah.
And when I bled off, I still kept climbing, and I was probably a good like I would say 15, 20 feet above the runway, and it just stalled. Yeah.
Hit.
It just hit hard. I was like, well,
You didn't watch your airspeed? Is that what happened?
well, I didn't watch my airspeed, but I wanted to put it on the ground as quick as possible.
Because you didn't want to.
Yeah.
You felt like this is safe as.
It was nerves more than anything. It was new runway, a new place, crosswind. It was just a bad scenario.
Were you by yourself or somebody else?
I was by myself too. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that.
Yeah. But anyways,
You were seeing death in front of your
I didn't
eyes.
have the conviction. I didn't have the conviction.
If you had it, you probably would have landed.
I would have known. Yeah, I would be like, okay, I'm perfectly fine.
I was gonna fire.
Yeah.
But you still did it.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna talk about another passion that you have. I mean, race car, and that's why he went and got his Porsche. And I said, oh, listen, I did a race car thing in back in August too, so it was fun. I mean, I did it a few times, but how do you like your new car?
I love that thing.
Yeah.
That thing is
What is the speed you gone in it? Let's not talk about that.
I think I hit 150 on the way here. I did like 120 on the toll.
I know, but there's like cars. 150.
Yeah.
Where did you do it? At night?
No, on the highway. Yeah.
When people are around?
Yeah.
You don't care about other people?
I mean,
You pay
I see them for 1 second, and then yeah. No, but I mean, yeah. It's a fun car. I honestly, it's just been a long time coming for that car, and that's just like
hear that, Kevin? It's been a long time coming since he was maybe like
I've gone through so much.
his other 21-year-old friend has gone there faster than him, so it's been a long time coming.
Yeah, but it
We
feels
need to hang around these type of people.
it feels like a long time, and I've pushed that car back so many times. Like in my head, my goal is to eventually create a development company. Funny enough, before I even met Eric, before I met Eric, a couple months before, in my head I was just like, I wonder what I didn't even know what being a developer was, but for some reason, and this is God, like the idea of becoming a developer popped into my head. Like 5 months before I met Eric.
Because his heart and his mind is so open, you guys. Like he has that, and he had put that trust in him. Yeah. I have, you trust in God, and he just guided you.
And it was something that came out of. I remember the day I was driving home in my car, not the Porsche, in the another car, and I was just like, I wonder what developers do. And then I just started to look into it. And then 5 months later, or probably last like 3 months later, that's when I met Eric. I was like, wow, I guess it's crazy. So the goal has always been to create a development company where I can, like a family business owned.
Yeah.
My family runs it. They have construction real estate experience as well. So that'd be perfect. They get to do whatever they want with that. We get to scale it up massively. And I'm just the bank account that just continues to fund the deals.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And have that on the side. So that's why I've been pushing that off, because I was like, okay, I'm 21 right now. I want to get into property. I want to be, have a multiple 7-figure business, a real estate business by 25, which I hopefully,
Very
yeah,
doable.
yeah,
The rate you're going.
hopefully, yeah,
Yeah,
God
no,
working
hold
out.
on. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the thing is that I think one thing I've noticed about among all successful people is the spirituality, right?
Of course.
There's a level of connection. There's to a higher power that I feel like I've noticed this several times. I mean, I talk to different people, no matter what age group they are and how successful they're not. There is always this higher power. So no one is like they're thinking that they did this all by themselves or just by luck or chance.
I couldn't do this all by myself.
No,
I could not.
no.
I'm the first one to say it. I know I could not do this all by myself.
Yeah. There's a level of spirituality.
There's people that have been put in my life that are it's just God.
Yeah.
That car is just God. I found that car like an hour after they got it in. It wasn't even listed on the website. And that's like the exact spec that I would get. Like literally down to the color, down to everything.
That's what you wanted.
That's
I
what
think
exactly.
I think when you went to Dubai, didn't you post something like a picture like
I
this?
posted, so it was a GT3, and that was like a very nice color.
Very similar to this, though.
Very similar color.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I remember it, and I saw the pictures and stuff, and I was like, that's almost very, very similar thing. Yeah.
An hour after they got that,
They called you?
It was no, I wasn't even gonna go to that dealership, and I just happened to walk in just to see what they had because I was car shopping, and then they were like, "Look, we just got this in." Drove it. 2 hours later, I just bought it. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So
And
even down to the car.
let me ask you a question. Did they say you're 21 years old?
Yeah.
Is this a drug deal money company?
Yeah.
Or did it?
They actually did. They were just like the guy that helped me out. He was just like, so what do you like?
What do you
No
do?
one asked me, what do you do? And so I broke it down for him. And
Like,
was
legit.
he was convinced. He was like, man, I want to do what you do.
Yeah.
I was just like,
You're more than welcome to join.
yeah, you can.
We have a mentorship program.
Exactly. And so, yeah, they were just curious. And I get a lot of people, but I don't really like talking about it as much anymore. My biggest goal now, what makes me kind of just peaceful, or that, like what I'm working towards, is just those properties.
Yeah.
Hopefully 7-figure net worth by the end of this year, and then see 8 figures by 25.
There you go. That's awesome.
We'll see. God willing, like I said. But that's the whole like spiel with the car. Like, it wasn't me. Nothing was me.
God guided you there.
God guided me there.
Wow, Daniel, I think this has been by far one of the most interesting podcasts.
Yeah.
And, it's always about the patient. I come in and they talk about their experience of what they've, gone through and how we have helped them, overcome, it'd be TMJ, pain, jaw, all this stuff, and sleep apnea, whatever you name it. But this has been a podcast that I initially started this for patients to learn about our practice and what we do so that they can get more educated, because I'm all about, educated patient is empowerment. And I believe that an educated patient is a happy patient. And every single patient that knows me, I've never, tried to push anything. I educate, I stand back, and they ask for recommendation. I give my recommendation, but I will never tell someone to do this or that. Anyhow, so that has been the experience, for all the patients I've gone through. But today, I feel like that has been a turning point for my journey, because I feel like I've learned so much from you. And I have no ego saying that, because, when you go through so much in life and you understand that that a 5-year-old can be a mentor, so as a 100-year-old, and when you can sit across from someone who's literally 21 years younger than you and feel like you can learn from them.
Yeah.
And I say this with such an honor.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And I'm so glad that Mike Barron introduced us to Eric.
I haven't even had the chance to have a really good conversation. I know we had a conversation over dinner, but hopefully San Diego next week we get to actually sit down and talk a little bit more. Yeah. But yeah, it's crazy how everything worked.
How everything worked out, and so I want, first of all, thank you so much, really, Danny. I really mean this, and I hope that I can learn so much from you, because just hearing from you, it's kind of like your world is like wide open, but then all of a sudden like, okay, I need to widen more open, because like, look at this. If I meet people like him and they become my circle of influence, even though I don't care how old they are, that is going to impact the way I think, the way I train my team, the way I grow my business. And maybe one day, along with, like Baron and other team, you can help me do different coaching for other doctors and stuff, because that's has been my goal since 4 years ago, believe it or not.
Oh, really?
But I haven't implemented those systems yet because, it's just always like, it's kind of like convictions. Let me just put it that way. Can I really do it? And if you can, how can I put the program together? And that's really, really been the part where you feel like, because there's 3 different sections that I can actually do. There's one over full mouth rehabilitation, there's one on all-on-X implant system, and there's one on sleep apnea and TMJ for kids and adults. So there's literally 3 different coaching programs that I could be doing. Believe it or not, when I actually go to these different courses, when other doctors who are in practice for 20, 30 years, they'll all of a sudden like, how are you doing this at this age? Like, where did you learn all this? And I just know that the more I learn, the more I realize I don't know anything. And it started really with one of my teachers in dental school. He was in practice for 28 years. It was my 4th year of dental school. And one thing he told me, he said, if you're not studying 6 hours a day on dentistry, you're always falling behind, meaning that you always have to be educating yourself. So from the moment I graduated, I started taking courses after training. And, there was a turning point in my practice back in 2016 when my dad had quadruple bypass, and skinny guy, who ended up with a quadruple bypass. That's when I had to learn about, sleep apnea and TMJ, and then later on led to more implant dentistry. I was already doing implant dentistry, but not to the extent that I do now or then. Yeah. And everything changed. And so it has been always like, when I feel like I had a roadblock, I'm like, oh, I'm about to go high.
You're fueled by passion.
Yeah. And it's
fueled by a lot of passion. You have a story, like you just have, it's very dear to your heart because obviously you have that experience with your dad.
And you don't know this, but I'm going to share this right now a little bit, because 2 of my patients want to interview me about how I became a dentist and all this stuff, the journey. But really, he came from an immigrant family. I'm also immigrants, and came here in 1998 with my mom and 2 sisters. Wow. And we landed with $3 in the United States. We literally had $3. But I was the happiest because I felt like, I could do anything. I can become anybody. The only thing I cannot do or become is the president of the United States, because I wasn't born here.
Unfortunately.
So,
never know.
Fortunately, unfortunately, you never know, right? So, but the thing is that, I think one of the things that my mom really taught us well, it was, you can become anybody and anything if you just put your mind and heart and soul into it. And so,
yes.
And then she worked really hard, and she said, you guys just focus on studying and go to school. And, a few years later, got accepted to dental school. And then when I was in dental school, before I even went my practice, I visioned myself at 21, practicing dentistry, either Frisco, Plano, or McKinney, like at 21 years old. Okay. When I graduated, when I was about to graduate, I started thinking, oh my God, I really want to open my practice in Frisco. And I got my first practice on 423 in Maine. Yeah. And so, and then I remember in 2019, which is the funny part, my accountant, I was talking to him, and I said, about the taxes and stuff. And he says, well, you need to get your own building in 2 years. And I thought to myself, 2 years? What? No, we're not doing that. 90 days. I had a 90-day goal. Yeah. On this building.
Beautiful.
And the rest is history. So we're going to talk about that on my own, like a different podcast with my patient, but just kind of like the same. But, he's, if I had met him when I was like, when he wasn't born.
Yeah. Not bad.
These would have been better. I'm just kidding.
And I want to say one thing about that. Like, obviously I'm 21. I can't really speak on everything. I haven't experienced what it is to be like a parent or anything yet. But I think the number one most important thing, and the common, with some of the greatest people in this world, some of the most talented artists, some of the most successful entrepreneurs, is that if you can have somebody, and if you're a parent and you can, have kids, if you can just constantly tell them that they can do whatever, that's the number one thing.
Wow. Is that what your parent did?
Since day one.
You can do whatever you want.
And I've had two influences. I've had people that have done the opposite, and then I have people that, like my parents.
So you would watch them
literally do anything. You're better than everybody, which is obviously a very I believe that ego isn't a bad thing.
No, it's not.
And it's a thing that most people would say, oh, it's very egotistical to say.
Yeah.
But my parents were like,
you are actually very successful.
my parents were like, no, you are better than everybody.
Yeah.
Like, look around, you're better than everybody.
Yeah.
And that was what fueled, that whole entire.
Bravo to your parents. I've never met them, but hopefully one day I'll have a privilege to meet both of them.
Yeah.
Because I want to know who is behind this gentleman right here.
I appreciate it.
Yes. So, Danny, 3 words of wisdom that you would like to share with our audience, and before we wrap things up.
3 words?
Yeah, like 3 words, 3 sentences, 3 things that you would like to share.
Yeah, that'd be a good one.
Yeah.
There's a couple.
Uh-huh.
I mean, we'll go into another whole spiel, but
Sure.
number 1 is, I'll do 3 lessons. Number 1 is, God will grant you everything that you want in life under one condition.
What?
You don't quit.
Sure.
Everything that you want, everything that will benefit you in this life, He will give it to you as long as you don't quit. That's the only journey. That's the only exception.
All right. Second.
Number 2, consistency beats everything.
Oh, just like Eric.
Just like Eric.
Yeah.
And number 3 is,
And just like someone I know, but I can't mention them.
yeah. And then number 3 is, lastly, I would say,
Don't quit. Be consistent. I'll put him on the spot, guys. He's coming up as nice.
I'll say this one for now.
Yeah.
Can't really think of any, but just, focus on being a generalist and not a specialist.
Wow. So he's basically saying focus on being good at when you're overseeing something, so you're actually leading a group.
Exactly.
And rather than just doing one thing.
Now, there's no bad thing about being good at one thing and being passionate about one thing, but I think if you can learn everything and understand how everybody thinks and the mindset that every role that a person plays,
Mm-hmm.
you're first off going to have way better conversations, like way deeper conversations, way deeper relationships with people. And yeah. And
then you kind of understand everybody's.
You're going to be able to give advice better.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
That's right.
So try to just understand every single.
So I'm going to repeat what you said.
Yeah.
3 lessons from him. Don't quit. Be consistent.
Be consistent.
And be generous, meaning that learn everybody's work, especially who you are around or who you're training or like the mentorship, whatever.
And not even business, right? This is just like
in general. Like learn about everything. So you can have a conversation. It's a funny thing. Can I say something?
Yeah.
So last year, the funny part is that just like you, I had a list of things that I wanted to do. I went and learned skateboarding and then acrobatics and then, skiing, learn how to ski. What do you call it? Hip hop head dance class. What else? Horseback riding.
Nice.
What else did I do? So I did a lot of things because I just wanted to make sure I was like, when you're a crowd, like with you, I connected with, flying lessons and what do you call it? Race cars and somebody else skiing and then, other people dancing and dancing too. And I love dancing and acrobatics. So you're right. When you're sort of know a little bit about everything, you can have a conversation anywhere. Mm-hmm. And this will be part of that big picture.
Learn a little bit about something.
Yeah.
And you can have a conversation.
That's right. Yeah. So
that's the goal.
Danny, this was such a pleasure.
Likewise.
I mean, I want to find something to work with you. Seriously, I truly mean that because this guy, I'm like, I want to be around him. But you're going to Florida for a little bit.
I'm going to Miami.
Yeah.
Honestly, just to experience what it is to live in Miami. I've never.
He wants to experience life. That's what he wants.
I want to experience life.
Yeah.
Or I want to, I feel like I wasted so much of my life. I want to. No.
What do you want?
Yeah. No, I want to just go out there and a goal of mine since high school has always been like, I've always told everybody I wanted to live in Miami. Not sure why, not sure how, but now I've had the opportunity to, and so I'm going to go out there. I'll still be here like 70-30.
But he's manifesting his own, future constantly because he's not thinking backwards, he's thinking forward. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. That's the only way you can think.
Yeah.
Like, why think backwards? It already happened.
Exactly.
The only reason you look back is for the lessons.
That's right.
That's it.
He's so wise, Kevin. I don't know what to do with him. And he's so sharp on his, feet. I was like, oh my gosh. So anyhow, I don't want this podcast to end, but, I'm sure you have better things to do than to just be here to have a conversation. But it was such a pleasure, Danny.
Likewise.
I so appreciate you. Of course.
Yeah.
And hopefully, in the future we get to work together, you can coach me in some things that I would love to learn from you. And
one last thing, I'll add this
yes,
to finish it up. I it says a lot from you to interview your own patients.
yeah.
It shows how much you care about them.
Oh,
It shows
thanks.
how much you understand everybody has a story and everybody is able to impact someone, even if it's talking about their experience with your dentistry,
Yeah.
and with their dentist, experience. You still are able to, you still want to have everybody in the spotlight and hear what they have to say,
Yeah.
and that's amazing. Not a lot of people do that.
Such a gentleman. I mean, come on, you're something else. Very sweet. Yeah, and that's true because I, in order for other people who are out there who still, I mean, what we notice when patients come in, 50-70% of them are scared of going to the dentist. I mean, you were a dentist.
I loved it.
Yeah, you loved it.
I was always because I thought I never had cavities, so I was like, oh, I'll walk in here, every text, I'm still good. All right, I'll see you later. Until I came here, and now I realize.
Yeah, we had to fix him up, but he's not good.
Yeah.
He's going to be cavity for a long time. And but the good thing is that as he mentioned, everybody has a story. Everybody wants to feel important, and especially for people who've gone through the experience of the anxiety, the pain, or whatever, and we change the things that around a little bit for them. I would like for other people to hear their story as well and their transformation. So, but more importantly, thank you for sharing your life experience.
Thank you for sharing your life.
Your 4 years of life experience. I've learned so much from you.
Yeah.
I truly mean that.
Yeah.
And I hope to get to work with you really in a deeper level for other stuff. And I really hope that we can make that happen. Seriously.
Likewise.
We can talk off camera.
Yeah.
And
I think this has to be this isn't just going to be one episode. I think we should do another episode.
Oh my God, I was going to say that too.
Yeah.
When should we do it? Hold on, let me edit this again. When do you think we should do it?
One more time.
Hold on. So go ahead and say it again.
I think we should probably film I don't think we could just end off with one episode. I think we're going to have to do multiple episodes.
And when do you think we should do it?
I think probably not anytime soon, just because we got to let life play out a little bit more to come back with more stories.
Yes.
And then come back with more lessons. But in a year from now would be...
Yeah, a year from now, I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Let's do it, Danny.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys so much. Again, appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for taking time to come here.
Thank you for, everything you've done. Absolutely just selfless. Ever since the beginning when we met and when we walked in.
Thank you.
You've taken care of us, me and Eric. I really appreciate it.
Of course. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you as well. And this is, again, has been one of the most enlightening episodes for myself because I always try to enlighten others, but I have been enlightened the most today and I really loved it. And I am excited to do our future episodes together. And thank you so much for your life lessons, learning experiences. And I hope that I get to learn from your mentorship as well. Okay. And I can say that very humbly because, when you believe that you can actually learn from someone, be generous in saying it. Because when someone goes through such a, experience in life and learns and have so much to say and teach, there is no harm in literally being generous and speaking those words. And I say that humbly. And I'm so glad that that life has, crossed paths, with you and with Mike Barron and Eric. And so that I can take my own learning and life lessons and experience to a different level. Because I feel like I'm leveling up with you guys.
Yeah, there's still a lot more questions, a lot more things that we can dive in. But
yeah,
we'll talk about it off camera.
Of course. Thank you guys so much. And stay tuned for another episode of Tea Time with Dr. K. And have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye.
Goodbye.